Yo, what's going down, everybody? It is straight out of Boston here, aka the King of Boston, and today we are back for episode 27 of the Around the League series, and today we are doing the Chicago Bulls. Now, let's get right into this. This is a team that is widely considered to be one of the Miami Heat's biggest threats, I should say, and I can see why. Now, obviously, this is the team that did recently beat Heat and ended their 27-game win streak, which was a very good game. One of my favorite games of the NBA season so far. Nationally televised on ESPN. Just, good old school, hard-fought basketball. You know what? I don't care if anyone thinks that those were dirty plays. You're just out of your mind. You never watched basketball before 2005 because those are hard fouls, but they're clean fouls, and it was the way the game is meant to be played. And you know what? I have no problem with what the Bulls did to LeBron James. I thought he was very arrogant in what he said after the game, when he was talking about how those weren't basketball plays. No, those were basketball plays. You just never watched basketball before the days of MJ and them or whatever. But you know what? That's beside the point. This isn't a commentary about LeBron. This is a commentary about the Bulls, and I think that the Bulls do have almost the antidote to beating the Miami Heat. I think they figured it out. I think it wasn't even so much the hard fouls. It was they cut off LeBron's role as a facilitator. They made him be a scorer, which is not what he wants to do. It's not what he's best at. He's much better at being an all-around type of game, or having an all-around type of game, and not being so one-dimensional. Because that's kind of what he did in Cleveland, and he kind of figured out that it didn't work for him. And I know that he got a ton of assists in Cleveland and stuff, and I don't blame him for I don't blame him for playing one-dimensional in Cleveland, because he didn't have anyone around him to win with. So, it's not like his fault or anything. But you know what? That was the problem with those Cleveland teams, is that LeBron did have to play as a scorer, and he didn't want to, and that's not how his game was built. So you know what? I think the Bulls have kind of figured out how to beat the Heat. Are they going to beat the Heat? In my opinion, no. I don't think so. I get that they didn't have D Rose or Joakim Noah. One, I don't think D Rose is coming back this season. I really don't. Second, Joakim Noah has plantar fasciitis, which is an injury that's kind of a lingering injury. I'd be concerned if I was Bulls fans. That's not the type of injury that goes away after 2 to 3 weeks. That lingers, and that stays with you until you kind of rest for an entire summer. I'm not sure if that's the type of injury that requires surgery, but I know it's not going to get better, I mean, it'll get a little bit better, but it's not going to be he's not going to be fully healthy probably till next season. So I'd be a little bit worried about that. Your all-star center not being 100% for the playoffs. But Joakim Noah's a tough dude. He's played through injuries before, and I think that's hopefully he'll be fine for the playoffs, because he is one of my favorite centers in the NBA. As for the rest of this team, they do have some really key players like Luol Deng, who's one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He might be a top 5 two-way player in the NBA, and by that I mean, he can do things offensively, but he's also a lockdown defender on the defensive end. He has a huge wingspan. He's so good. He's so good for that team when they did beat the Heat. Now his backup, Jimmy Butler, is a guy that a lot of people have been talking about lately out of Marquette. He has really emerged as the type of guy that might have some trade value into this coming offseason. We'll see what they do with him. But it looks like he's ready to start in the NBA, and unless they put him at the 2 guard, he doesn't really have a spot on this team. Now, speaking of the 2 guard, this is kind of the biggest question for this team. Between Marco Bellinelli, Rip Hamilton, maybe Nate Robinson, but you can't play a 5'9" guy too, especially when you're trying to cover like a guy like D Wade in the playoffs. So that's a big question. I'm curious to see who would cover D Wade in a series like that. I think that's when they would have to think about playing Jimmy Butler more often, because Butler can defend D Wade a little bit. He's 6'7", so he's got good length to match up against Wade's. He's only 6'4", so. Now, the big kind of twin tower, so to say, on this team is Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah, 2 all-star caliber players. Boozer's really emerged this year, kind of living up to that contract that he got paid a couple years back. Noah's emerged. This is his best season easily. He's becoming a great passing big, very good defensively. He's developing a bit of a low post game. That's good. Him and Marc Gasol, 2 very similar players, 2 of my favorite players in the NBA at this point. And, if I was both Bulls fans, I'd be really excited about them. As for the rest of the team, Kirk Hinrich, a very good player out of Kansas. He really knows how to run the offense while Derrick Rose is out. There's not really much to say about Derrick Rose. I really don't think he's coming back this year. I don't know. We'll see. And, the rest of the team is just some role players. Guys that I don't want to touch on too much. Taz Gibson, Daquan Cook. Guys who could get minutes in the playoffs, but I don't feel like they're necessary to touch on too much because this video isn't going to be that long. But I do think that this team has the formula to beat the Heat. But I just don't think in a 7-game series where you're going to be playing 4 games in Miami, I don't see it happening. I see that being a 6-7 game series, but I don't see the Bulls coming out on top. Now, I'm sorry, Bulls fans. You can tell me that, we already beat them. We just beat them. We didn't even have Noah or D Rose. That's the regular season, guys. The Heat have lost 16 games in the regular season. The 2001 Lakers lost like 25 regular season games. Guess what? Guess how many games they lost in the playoffs that year? 1. The regular season means nothing. Literally, I mean, you know, I really don't buy too much into regular season games, although that did have the atmosphere of a playoff game, but still, I just don't buy too much into it. But I really do think that this team, you know, the Bulls, I'll throw the Pacers in there still, and the Knicks, due to their recent success, are the 3 teams that can beat the Heat in the playoffs, but I just don't think any of them are gonna. But we'll have to see. The Bulls fans obviously, Bulls obviously have a really good team. Could beat them, but I think they're a more likely second or third round exit. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy. Let me know what you think of the Bulls in the comment section below. And as always, I'm out. Peace.